everyone, you're welcome to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. And if this is the first time of coming across this channel is centered around sewing. I make sewing tutorial videos, pattern drafting, array to wear outfits. So in today's tutorial, I'll be giving you a detailed illustration on how to sew a corset with a yoke. And you can see I'm already displaying the fabrics I'll be using for this dress. I have my Ankara print fabric, that's the blue one. I have my black net, and the one which I'm holding is a calico material and it's a bit stretchy. I have my bias, I have my lining, I have my wording, and I have my boning as well. So before I proceed, I would like to thank all my subscribers. Thank you for the subscription. And if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please kindly do so you join this one love family. Okay, so in order to do this, I'll first of all draft a basic bodice. So here I have drafted a basic bodice, and I didn't really show where I did this because I think I've actually done this twice, but I'll be dropping a different video on how to draft a basic bodice. So all I just did here was I went in by on the neck depth, I went in with by 4 inches. So the first line you are seeing there after my neck is my chest line, the second one is my bust line or my bust point, the third one is my under bust, and the last one is my waistline. So having done that, the next thing I will do now is to take in my darts. Yeah, so I'm working with a dart of 4 inches. You measure from, that's called your bust span as well. So I will just mark all I'll just mark with 4 inches on all the lines, from the chest line to the bust line to the under bust and to the waistline. So when I'm done doing this, I'll just connect with my ruler. So having done that, I'll come to my shoulder line. I'll measure what I have on my shoulder. I'll divide it into 2 equal parts. I'll be marking exactly what I have at that point, like the half of your shoulder. I hope you understand. Just watch what I'm doing very well. So my shoulder is 4 here, so divided into 2 is 2 inches. So that was just what I did. So I'll connect from there to my chest line. So having done that, now it's time to take our darts. So on your underburst, you are coming out by 0.75 at both sides. That's 1.5 inches, but you are going to divide it into 2 equal parts. That's 0.75 at both sides. And on your waistline, you are coming out by ½ inch at both sides. Just come about ½ inch at both sides. That's just it. And when you are done, you get your curve drew, and you curve or you connect exactly the way you say I'm doing right here. Yeah, so I just did that, and having done that already, I'll just proceed to measuring my, I'm trying to mark my cup. Yeah, so you get to your bust line or your bust point, to measure the distance from your bust line or your bust point to your under bust, and mine is actually 3 inches. So all you have to do is you place your tape, like will I say the head of your tape, on your bust line, and I am going to mark the 3 inches. That's the distance between my bust point and my under bust. I'm going to mark it all the way around, more like a circle. Yeah, so I'll mark it all the way around, which I'm already doing here. So you just mark this all the way around. So by the time you must have done this, we are going to actually divide this cup or this circle here, right here. So all you will do now is, so at the beginning of where, like the upper part of where the circle began, you'll be marking 1.5 inches, but see how to mark it. You are going to mark ½ inch towards the side, going to the middle of our dress. I hope you understand. Then you also include 1/4 of an inch, that is ½ inch plus 1/4 of an inch. That's what we were going to mark towards that part. ½ inch plus quarter of an inch, like quarter of 1 inch. So that's what you mark towards the side, going to the towards the middle of our dress, and to that part going to the armhole, you are going to mark 1 inch plus quarter of an inch. I hope you understand what I mean, right? So when you are done, you are just going to connect from that part down to your bust point or your bust line, as you are seeing me do, like this, right? So this is exactly what you do, and I'm just trying to connect this at that point. Just watch what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to connect this from that point. You can also go in by half an inch if you don't want the middle part to be wide, but I just preferred using everything that is 1 inch. But you can go in by half an inch from that point which I marked. So as you can see how I just connected this, I just connected this together. So when you get to your armhole, you come down by half an inch and you're going to extend that line, and you just connect exactly the way you see me connect. Please just watch what I'm doing very well. There is no way you will not understand. Just watch the way I am connecting all of this. So I'm just connecting all this, and you can see it already has a nice shape. It already has a nice shape. So that's basically all for that. So now start inputting all our measurements. And remember, in my other tutorial where I dropped how to draft a bustier, whichever that you take, while adding your circumference or inputting your measurements, you're definitely going to add back the that intake. Of course, what I did here, the 2 inches, sorry, the 1.5 inches which was here, I had to replace it back, plus the quarter of an inch, and everything became 2 inches. So I just replaced it back. That's the dots which you are seeing on the chest line. So that's actually my bust circumference. So there I just marked my waistline. That's my waist circumference divided by 4, plus the 1 inch that intake and 2 inches sewing allowance. I hope you understand what I did, right? Yeah. So once I'm done doing all that, I will just extend that armhole to get to that point where I extended our bust line. And once I'm done, you just cut this out. This is as simple as ABC. Like, it's the simplest thing you can ever do. So just watch how I'm cutting this so you don't make any mistakes at all. So after cutting, this is actually what it will look like, exactly like this. And if you're following my steps, this is exactly what you will have as well. So this my dress, this is my corset. I want to be giving it a basque or a triangular waistline. So just watch what I'm doing, because this is how I'll be giving it that that pointed stuff in front. I don't know, but it's called a basque waistline or a triangular waistline. So I will just okay. So to do this, the depth you have to go, like the highest, the maximum is 5 inches. You don't go down by 6 inches, you don't go down by 7 inches. The highest is 5 inches, and that is where I mark that point there. I measure from my waistline, from just my waistline there to that point, and I have 5 inches. Remember, I placed this my front part of my bodice or my dress on another paper. So I'll be connecting from my waistline just like this. Okay, I'm just connecting just like this. So this is all about preference and choice. You can come down by 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, or 5 inches, which I later went up by 1 inch. That means I just made my 4 inches. Okay, please, you don't exceed 5 inches. Okay, it's not advisable to do that. So I'll just cut that from that point. I'm just going to cut it off. Yeah. So after I must have got this out, I'll go ahead to draw for my back part turn. Yeah, so I've already drafted my back pattern. At this point I didn't know the type of neckline I wanted for my back, so I just had to turn my curve row towards the other part and just make that curve. I don't even know what the neckline, I don't know what the name is, I just did it. So please, you can go ahead to make yours block a v neckline, or or you make it circle or a round neck. Okay, please, I don't know the name of the neckline which I did on mine. So I just went ahead to input all my measurements as I did for the front part, adding my 2 inches sewing allowance. That was all I did. And once you are done with this, you just have to cut out from that your chest line, which I didn't really do here. I did it behind the camera. Just cut out when you must have cut out your neckline. That's the my imported neckline. You just have to come to your chest line, you cut it out, so that will be your yoke. Okay, I'll still explain this when I'll still explain this later, but I hope you understand what I mean. Just on your chest line, you're going to cut out, so the upper part is going to be your yoke. And for my zipper, at that point there, you see where I went in by half an inch. I had to cut it off, and for me not to have this bulge at the back of my zip of my dress, I'm so sorry, of my dress. So that was basically all I did. So I just cut out everything here. So I just label this to know the part that will be the parts that will be going towards our center front, and the part going towards our side front, that's towards the armhole part. Okay, so I'm going to cut this on my main fabric, and I'll be adding stitching allowance all round, at least half an inch. And as you can see, I've already done this, and I added half an inch, at least half an inch sewing allowance all around these pieces. And this is what I was trying to explain to you. I just had to cut this off from my chest line. As you can see, it's already the same thing with the front part, just that the front part has a different shape, but you just cut out from your chest line, and that will automatically be your yoke. Okay, so I'm just trying to show you what I've done so far, and I use an interfacing on all my fabrics, and including my lining. So that's an interfacing actually. So that's basically all for this dress, for the upper parts, why drafting actually. So please don't forget to add the stitching allowance. So I'm placing all these my cups because I'm about sewing now. Like, we are done drafting, so it's just sewing. Please add half-inch sewing allowance to all your fabrics while cutting, please. So this is how you are going to bring your two cups together and stitch. Please make sure you place them very well while stitching. Remember that the cup actually has a slanted part. That side will go into the armhole, and I used my wadding to cut out for my breast pad, or my breast cup. So this is actually what I meant. So that the way I instructed you earlier to stitch, that's the same way you stitch both for the fabric and the wadding. And we know this wadding actually has a shiny part. That's the part that will be facing the fabric. Okay, so you just nudge, as you see me do like that. I just nudge that, and just iron this way. You open the seam and iron it flat. So when you are done, you place your wadding directly to the fabric, that's the shiny part, and you iron as well. That's what you're going to do for the two cups. You iron this perfectly like this. So once you're done doing that, you just go ahead now. I want to create a casing for my boning, and I'm making use of my bias, which I showed you earlier on. You can go ahead to make any design of your choice. There is no rule for that. Okay, so you can go ahead to put the way you want. So I'll just be showing you how to fix a bias on your fabric for those that don't really know. Okay, so that's why I actually brought this to my machine. So your bias is already ironed or already made for you, so all you have to do is just you place it directly on the line where you want it to be. So at the both sides, you know that they are quite tiny. You are going to sew carefully, like, not that you'll be sewing outside the bias, but carefully you are going to sew beside, like, at the ends of the bias. Okay, so your boning can be able to contain your boning. Okay, just, I don't know, just take a little and sew at both sides. That was just what I was trying to explain here, so that you don't just occupy all the don't just stitch where your boning is meant to be. So that's just that. So I just went ahead to create my own design, and once I'm done, I'll just go ahead to start putting my cups for the front part. And don't forget that I told you that the slanted cup part will be going to your armhole area. Please don't forget that. Okay, and watch the way I am going to fix this is exactly the same way you should fix yours as well. And I just went ahead to pin this down to show you what it will look like when you are done stitching this. Please make sure you pin it down so you don't get a mistake, so you don't make a mistake. And once you've gotten this, it will fit perfectly. You understand? It will fit perfectly. So I've gone ahead to stitch that in my sewing machine, and I want to attach my yoke. And if you want to do this, you realize that the yoke is now bigger than your corset. That's your front dress or bodice. So what I did was just to fold this into two. I brought my curved rule, and I just tried to give this a sweetheart neckline. If you watch very well what I'm doing, please. I just try to give it a sweetheart neckline. Of course, I'm in love with sweetheart necklines. So that's what I just did basically. And if you should do that, you will now realize that it will now be of the same size. Okay, so what you just do is you fold your dress into two. You get the middle part, you pin it down with the middle part of your yoke. Just watch the way I'm doing this. Pin it down with the front of your yoke, and you're going to stitch from that middle part to your armhole area at both sides. Okay, so make sure you pin this down first. The essence of pinning all this down is not just because you want to take all the time in the world, but just so you put your fabric at a place, so you don't have to sew and lose and sew and lose, because I actually hate that very well. So after doing this, I just went ahead to my machine to stitch that down, and as you can see, I've done that. And it's time to cover up this with my lining, and the same way I fixed everything from my main fabric, that's the same way I did it from my lining. And I'm just going ahead as well to pin it down at the center, and I will now stitch it just the same way I did for the yoke. I'll stitch it from that center part all the way to my armhole. Okay, so that is just that. So I'm done stitching this now, and I went ahead to top stitch on my lining, just on my lining. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to insert or impute my boning. So what I did was, at each place where I actually put my bias, I had to subtract 1 inch from there, or half an inch. Like if I had 10 inches from the under bust there to my waistline, I minus 1 or half an inch depending on what you want. So that was what I did for that front before inserting my boning. Or even if you should do it exactly, it still doesn't mean anything, because the boning I'm making use of is a sewable boning. Okay, so you can actually sew on it though, but I'm just telling you just in case. So that's just it, and this is for the back. And I'll go ahead to also join my yoke and lining. And I just use this fabric that I'll be using, that's my Ankara fabric, to pipe the neckline both for the front and for the back. Okay, so the next thing I'll be doing now is to also achieve that back waistline or triangular waistline on my skirt part of the gown. That's that down part. Now just watch what I'm doing very well, and there is no way you will not understand. Okay, so this is just how you place this, and just please just watch what I'm doing while cutting yours. The nudge I made was to know where the exact or the actual middle part of my front dress is. So after I must have gotten that, I just had to trace this out with my chalk, because I'll not be cutting exactly on that line. Okay, I'll be leaving 1/4 inch allowance. Don't worry, just watch and see what I'm doing. Okay, so make sure you place this very well before any other thing. Don't be in a hurry. Okay, just take everything step by step and easy, so you achieve what you want at the end of the day. So I have already marked this, and I'm not cutting exactly on the line which I marked. I'm going to leave at least 1/4 inch allowance. Okay, if you watch very well, you see I didn't cut exactly on that line, right? So when you're done, you just get the middle point, you fold into two, get the middle part as well. You pin it down with the middle part for your skirt part. Mine, I didn't make a notch on my skirt part because I already ironed and I have this crease line on it already. So you sew from one end to the other, and from the other end to the other parts. So that's just all you have to do. And I'll go to my machine now and do this. So I've done this, and this is what it actually looks like. This is the outcome of it. And I'll go back to working on my back piece. So in case you don't really know how to do this, just watch what I'm doing. You're going to place this right side facing each other, and please make sure that the zip area is facing the zipper area for the upper parts, and the hip area is facing towards the armhole um um for the down part. Okay, so this is how you just stitch with at least 1/2 inch. So when you are done stitching, you are getting these two back piece like this, and right side facing each other. We are going to pin up that zip, 1 inch zip allowance we have, right? So it's not yet time to stitch everything. You just mark the 1 inch and you just pin it down, because we are trying to now stitch up, join all our pieces together. So I just joined on the shoulder for the front and the back with my pin. So after joining this, I'll go ahead to mark my bust circumference, my waist, and all that, including my hip. So we're actually coming to an end. We are actually progressing. So I've already gone ahead to join this, and I still have that zip area or the zipper area open. So at this point now, you are free to go ahead to join your zip or attach your zip to the back, and stitch your shoulder as well. So I'm going to attach my zipper and my sleeve, and that's all for this tutorial, and I'll show you the outcome. So here comes the outcome of my dress. Here comes the outcome of this dress. If you watch that middle part, you see it's actually spacious, right? That was why I told you that you can go ahead to go in by ½ inch or ¼ inch, depending on your preference. So this is actually how I wanted mine. It's a matter of choice. Thank you for watching, and if you've come this far watching me, I urge you to please subscribe to my channel. Drop your comments in the comment section, turn on your notification bell, like this video, and I'll still meet you next time on this same channel. And do have a very fruitful day ahead of you. Bye.